Have you ever felt like you were working hard, doing everything right, yet wealth still feels like it's just out of reach? You're not alone, and you're not broken. According to T. Harv Eker, the answer is in T. More Hustle It. S. A total rewiring of the way you think about money. In this video, we're re-exploring the bold ideas inside Secrets of the Millionaire Minder book that doesn't just talk about money, but about the mindset that attracts it. Let's start by understanding the man behind the message. T. Harv Eker isn't just another self-help author. He's a high-energy speaker, entrepreneur, and coach who once went from broke to millionaire in just 2.5 years. After struggling with multiple failed businesses, he finally cracked the code by shifting how he thought about wealth. He founded Peak Potatoes Training and has reached millions with his workshops on financial success. Eker's story is less about genius and more about transformation, about rewiring the mind for wealth. And that's the foundation of Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Now, let us break down 5 of the most powerful core ideas from the book, each one paired with a metaphor to bring it to life. First, the concept of the money blueprint. Think of your financial life like a house. Your thoughts, beliefs, and early programming form the blueprint. You can paint the walls or rearrange the furniture, but if the blueprint is flawed, the structure will always have problems. Eker argues that your money mindset formed mostly during childhood determines how much wealth you will allow yourself to have. Second, rich people think differently. Imagine 2 people facing a locked door. The poor mindset says, well, I guess we're stuck. The rich mindset says, where's the key? Or how do we make a new door? Wealthy people see solutions where others see wrong. They take ownership of their lives instead of blaming external forces. Third, your self-talk is your steering wheel. The way you speak to yourself is the direction your life takes. If you constantly say, I'm bad with money, you're turning the wheel towards scarcity. Eker recommends affirmations not as magic spells, but as recalibrations for your internal GPS. You drive toward what you believe you deserve. Fourth, money must be managed. Think of it like a garden. If you never tend to it, never budget, save, or invest, your garden grows weeds, not wealth. Eker introduces the jar system, a simple but effective way to allocate your income to various purposes like necessities, savings, education, play, and giving. Fifth, success is a thermostat, not a lightning strike. Most people are waiting for some massive opportunity or financial miracle, but wealth doesn't strike like lightning, it's maintained like temperature. Rich people set a high financial standard for themselves and refuse to settle for less. If the temperature drops, they turn the dial up again. But no book is without its flaws. Let's look at 4 common criticisms of Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. First, it can feel overly simplistic. Eker often breaks complex financial realities into digestible mantras, which is great for motivation, but not always practical for nuanced financial planning. Second, it leans heavily into the think positive school of thought. While mindset is critical, some critics argue that it downplays systemic issues and real-world barriers that affect financial mobility. Third, the anecdotes can feel a bit Eker's personal rags to riches story is inspiring, but some readers feel it's recycled a bit too often throughout the book. Fourth, the advice on risk-taking can come off as reckless if taken too literally. Encouraging people to feel the fear and do it anyway might be empowering, but for some, it can promote action without enough planning or strategy. So what should we take away from this book? Let's break it down into 3 actionable takeaways you can use starting today. 1. Audit your money blueprint. Write down the top 5 things you remember hearing about money growing up. Then ask yourself, how are these beliefs serving you or sabotaging you? 2. Use the jar system. No matter how much you earn, start dividing your income into categories: necessities, financial freedom, long-term spending, education, play, and giving. This simple habit builds discipline and balance. 3. Speak wealth into your life. Choose 3 affirmations that resonate with you and repeat them daily. It's not magic, it's mental conditioning. The stories you tell yourself become the life you live. Now here's where it gets even more fascinating. The ideas and secrets of the millionaire mind don't exist in a vacuum. They echo, align, and overlap with other legendary books on success and personal growth. Now here's where things get really interesting. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind doesn't stand alone, it's part of a much larger, interconnected web of ideas that have shaped modern personal finance and self-development literature. Let's begin with Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Written nearly a century ago, Hill's central premise is that wealth begins with thought. He talks about definiteness of purpose and the power of belief. Icke echoes this with his insistence that your money blueprint, the subconscious beliefs you hold, the limits for your financial success. Both authors argue that success starts not with strategy, but with psychology. If Hill tells you to plant the seed of desire, Icke hands you the blueprint for the mental soil it grows in. Then there's Atomic Habits by James Clear. Clear is all about the compound effect of small, consistent changes. At first glance, Icke seems more focused on mindset than behavior, but the truth is they complement each other perfectly. Icke tells you what to believe. Clear tells you how to make it stick. If you adopt a millionaire mindset, your next step is to build millionaire habits of budgeting, investing, and daily mental rehearsal. Icke resets the compass. Clear teaches you how to walk north. Now consider The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Housel dives into how emotions, fear, greed, and ego affect our financial decisions. Icke would wholeheartedly agree. In fact, his whole model is about making the subconscious conscious so we don't let invisible beliefs sabotage us. Housel talks about how wealth is more about behavior than intelligence. Icke shows us how beliefs drive behavior. One explores the patterns, the other shows you how to break them. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki might be the closest cousin to Icke's work. Both books draw clear distinctions between the mindset of the rich and that of the poor or middle class. Kiyosaki uses two father figures to show how the wealthy think in terms of assets, opportunities, and leverage. Icke does something similar. He outlines 17 contrasting thought patterns between the rich and the poor. Where Kiyosaki focuses on financial literacy, Icke focuses on financial psychology. Together, they build the full picture, what to know and how to think. Then there's Your Money or Your Life by Vicky Robin and Joe DeMaio. This book takes a more minimalist and values-based approach to wealth. It asks you to view money not just as currency, but as life energy traded hour by hour. Icke might seem more high-octane in tone, but at its core, his work is about aligning money with purpose. When he says play to win, he means live with intention, not just chase dollars. Both books challenge you to transform your relationship with money from one of fear or ignorance to one of clarity and empowerment. The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins strips wealth building down to its essence. Spend less than you earn, invest the difference, and let compound interest do its work. It's a no-nonsense strategy. But even Collins knows that the hardest part isn't the myth, it's the mindset. Icke addresses the root of financial self. Collins gives you the root. Icke ensures you don't mentally crash before you arrive. Now let's move into the world of psychology with Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. This groundbreaking book reveals how our brains are hardwired with cognitive biases, patterns of thought that often lead us astray. Icke's money blueprint is really just a collection of those biases installed by our environment, where Kahneman shows us the science behind flawed decision-making. Icke gives us a roadmap to override it. One helps you understand why you think the way you do. The other shows you how to think differently. Finally, The Happiness Trap by Russ Harris, based on acceptance and commitment therapy, tackles the myth that we need to avoid discomfort to be happy. Instead, it teaches that growth often means embracing discomfort and taking action anyway. That's exactly what Icke teaches when he says, feel the fear and do it anyway. Both authors encourage psychological flexibility. Act in alignment with your goals and values, not your fears or doubts. In both frameworks, fear isn't your enemy, it's your compass. So when you step back, what do you see? A wide spectrum of books, all seemingly different, converging on one central truth. Wealth, success, and fulfillment all begin in the mind. Some, like Clear and Collins, give you tools. Others, like Hill and Icke, give you belief systems. Together, they form a masterclass on how to design your life from the inside out. And maybe that's the real secret. You don't have to pick just one path. You can learn from all of them. Mindset and mechanics, psychology and planning, inner beliefs and daily action. The question now is, which of these pieces are you missing? Which one will you start working on today? Let me leave you with this. If you had to choose just one belief to rewire this week, just one idea about money, success, or yourself, what would it be? Type your answer in the comments. Let's start the conversation, because once you change your mind, the rest of your life tends to follow.